y'all, it's Katie. Welcome back to another Animal Crossing New Horizons video. As of the day I am uploading this video, we officially have 2 weeks left until the 2.0 update is at our disposal to download. In addition to that, the paid DLC Happy Home Paradise is also launching on November 5th. So in the very near future, us Animal Crossing lovers are going to have so much content at our fingertips. If you're watching this video, you're probably super excited about the update. I know a lot of us are. I also know a lot of us are incredibly overwhelmed by this update as well. There is so much content, so many new items, so many new features. It's a lot that's going to be difficult to digest just from the Animal Crossing Direct alone. And I've seen so much speculation online about what is the correct strategy to prepare for the Animal Crossing update. On one side of the fence, you say, restart your island, start from scratch, get a clean slate. And then there's the polarizing viewpoint of don't restart. You've got so many bells and Nook Miles tickets at your disposal. Why would you waste that? And then there's a middle ground of people flattening their islands and just making a new space for new items and terraforming and designing. This video is not to tell you which of those 3 to do. I'm sure you can find many videos suggesting one or the other online. I wanted to make a list of things that you should do to prepare regardless of which of those paths you choose. Now, don't get me wrong, I would say that you should pick one of those sooner rather than later, no matter which option. So that way you can still adequately prepare in the next 2 weeks for the update, no matter which route you decide to go. With that said, if you do enjoy Animal Crossing content like this, make sure to subscribe to my channel as I put out new videos every single Wednesday and Friday. The first thing I'm going to talk about is about grinding for Nook Miles. A lot of the new features in-game require exchanging Nook Miles for accessibility to those features, like unlocking the new cooking DIYs, upgrading to that cool Pro camera app, and even fence customization. You'll have to exchange Nook Miles in order to get that feature. After doing a little bit of the math, it looks like you're going to want close to 20,000 Nook Miles in order to unlock everything that we saw in the Direct. Now that's just an estimate, but take into consideration that there are going to be a plethora of more items that were not shown, and also potentially additional features that will also require Nook Miles. So 20,000 is a safe bet, but the more the merrier. Unlike bells, which you can get from trading on Nookazon or Reddit or Discord, visiting a treasure island, or having a generous friend, Nook Miles, unfortunately, you personally just have to grind for. This is especially important for people who are restarting their game because you're gonna have to spend Nook Miles as you unlock terraforming, unlock the basic pathing. So if you do decide to restart, just make sure you're grinding extra hard because you'll want to spend Nook Miles even before the update, so you'll have to re-cushion that inventory of Nook Miles. You guys get it, but even if you don't decide to restart, you still might want to make sure you have a cushy amount to spend for when the new features are available. A very easy way to do this, and something I'm personally doing, is just going through the Nook Miles Plus feature. This is where you can get double or up to 5 times the amount of Nook Miles from doing very simple tasks. My next tip is incredibly similar to the last, but it's about saving up your bells. Obviously, you'll want to save bells to purchase some new in-game items and furniture, that's a given. But in addition to that, the Animal Crossing Direct alluded that paying bells is going to be the primary way that you unlock new NPCs on Harv's Island. Similarly to how we have to pay bells to get inclines and bridges constructed on our islands, it looks like we're also going to have to pay bells to get some of our favorite NPCs to take residency on Harv's Island. Speaking of new bridges and inclines, if you do want to maximize your bridge and incline inventory from 8 to 10, then you're gonna have to pay more bells for those too. It is also understood that as we have upgraded our home storage in the past by paying bells, going from an inventory of 2,400 to 5,000 is probably going to take several transactions of paying bells to Tom Nook. So thus far we have the 2 things on our to-do list: rack up your Nook Miles, save your bells. And again, this is regardless if you're restarting, flattening, or simply carrying on with your current island. Number 3, upgrade your museum. I, for one, really did love the Blathers tent trend that a lot of Animal Crossing Island decorators had going for a while. And this one is completely optional. It's just a matter of if you want Brewster on your island. The Animal Crossing Direct, of course, showed us that the roost is in the top left-hand side of our Animal Crossing museums, and it is unclear currently how Brewster makes his arrival, but you'll want to at least be prepared from upgrading the tent to the museum. We don't yet know if you're going to have a certain number of fish, bugs, fossils. I don't even know if you're going to need Red's area unlocked or if you need to donate a certain amount of artwork, but it would be smart to plan ahead and at least have a lot of those boxes checked if you do want Brewster to be a part of your Animal Crossing experience. Speaking of new neighbors, you might want to start thinking about new villagers you might want to have visit your island. Over the last 2 years, we have fallen in love with some of our villagers. I know I have. I get very attached to a lot of them, but we have some new villagers that are really cool that are being introduced with this update. So my next tip is to start thinking about maybe those new characters you want to hunt for or purchase amiibo cards for. I mean, there are some really fun new villagers that you can bring to your island, so this is the fun part of the game where you can start thinking of your new neighbors, maybe a yard you're going to build for them. We don't know the ins and outs of their personalities, genders, all of that quite yet, but aesthetically, if you like some of these new villagers and what they bring to the table, or at least from what we've seen so far, you might want to start thinking about who you're going to kick out. I wish we could have 20 villagers on our islands, but unfortunately that's not the reality of the game. So do take inventory there, see who you want to keep, and maybe think about who you want to say bye to. Also, in terms of planning, I would highly suggest planning out a space for farming. Of course, this new farming feature had me personally absolutely floored, and I know it's something I'm going to participate in. With that said, like all features of this game, it is totally optional, and if a farming space is not your cup of tea, then you don't have to do this. But if you do want to unlock some of those fun food item DIYs to place in certain areas of this island, it might be beneficial to just pick a small plot of land in which you do want to participate in some farming. So if you are deciding to flatten your island or continue with your island's progression as is, maybe dedicate a current empty spot to farming specifically. And if you're restarting, I mean, you have a blank slate anyway, so just go crazy. I'm just thinking about all of the farm core islands that are about to happen, and I cannot wait. My final tip is going to be catalog as many items as you can and learn as many DIYs as you can before the update. Regardless if you decide to purchase the paid DLC or not, there are going to be a ton of new items for us to use. So to prepare for this, I would highly suggest cataloging as many items as you can so that way you can purchase them through your Nook stop, learning as many DIYs as you can so you can craft whatever you want. And I'm talking about the current in-game items. I know we are going to be blown away by some of the new items that are introduced to us, but as we are decorating our islands, I know that we are still going to be using a plethora of what we already have. If you didn't already know, cataloging an item simply means that once it is in your personal inventory, you can then purchase that item moving forward at any given time through your Nook stop, regardless if it's being sold in your Nook's cranny that day or not. So if your friend has an item that you don't currently have and you want to catalog it, you can simply ask to visit their island, hold that item in your pocket for a second, drop that item, and then boom, it's cataloged in your Nook shopping. Same goes for learning DIYs. I would highly suggest learning as many DIYs as you can so that way if you want to craft a barrel or log stakes, or if there are certain Celeste items that you want to bring on your island, learn those ahead of time because I have a strong feeling we're going to have other DIYs that we're going to want to learn. And that way you're just setting yourself up for success when the update actually hits. So let's recap. Here are the tips that I have regardless if you're restarting your island, flattening your island, or just progressing with your current island. Before the update, you are going to want to grind for Nook Miles. Unlike bells, you can't really get them through trading or through having a generous friend give them to you. You actually have to work for them, and it looks like a lot of the new features are going to require exchanging Nook Miles in order to benefit from them. Adjacent to that, save your bells. I don't know about y'all, but I definitely want that home storage of 5,000, and I have a feeling that's gonna be a pretty penny as well. But of course, you're going to need bells in order to get all of the new NPCs on Harv's Island as well. Speaking of new NPCs, upgrade your museum. Although it's unclear how Brewster is going to make his arrival and what the requirements within the museum will be for him to appear, it's better to set yourself up for success with at least the minimal upgrades. Start thinking about new neighbors and new villagers as well that you want to invite to your island, and maybe make a list of the 10 villagers that you want to have, and strategically think about which villagers you might need to kick out in order to make room for these new characters. Also plan a farming space. With the new cooking feature, we're going to need to harvest some really great goodies from our land, so picking out a small plot of land where you can grow tomatoes, potatoes, corn, all that good stuff, it's only going to benefit you for whenever you need to cook. And finally, catalog items and learn DIYs. We are about to be super overwhelmed with all of the new items, so you want to set yourself up for success. Go ahead and check off as many boxes as you can when it comes to learning DIYs and cataloging items, so that way you can fully enjoy the new items without having to scramble and find old pieces that you might need to be a part of a build. I hope you guys enjoyed these tips and found them useful. Some of you might be curious as to what my plan of action is with this update. Personally, I am not going to restart or flatten my island. I'm currently pretty attached to Calla Cove 2.0. I really enjoy what I have going. Is it a little frustrating that I'm gonna have to clear some space for the new items? Yes, of course, but you know what? I'm gonna welcome that creativity challenge. I also loved restarting whenever I was burnt out, and I'm not currently burnt out. If anything, I feel like I'm revving up for what's to come. So I feel like restarting right now would be a disadvantage, but I highly suggest it if you're feeling burnt out, or maybe you just feel like you're at a standstill. And the reason that I'm not flattening is simply because, again, I'm kind of attached to what I've currently got going on my island. But regardless of what you decide, whether you're restarting completely, whether you are doing what I'm doing and just progressing, or maybe you're flattening your island, A, I want to know, let me know in the comments below, and B, I hope these tips were helpful regardless of what you decide to do. With all of that said, y'all, I am so excited for November 5th. Let me know what kind of content you want to see. I'm already planning to do a full Let's Play with the Happy Home Paradise game, and obviously island tours are going to be absolutely crazy with all of these new items and features. So don't worry, those are going to be happening as well. We only have 2 weeks left. I'm just so excited. All right, y'all, I hope you're having an amazing afternoon, evening, morning, wherever you are in this big old beautiful world. I hope it's a good one, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye-bye.